Man. Alright. So, yeah. We have a leak in our house. So we're getting all the animals outside. I called the landlord. My wife is on weird panic mode, like she usually is when there's chaos. You're lucky I told you this was serious, wifey. Imagine if you just let me blow it over because of my paranoia. We are safe. You lucky. See, I overthink a lot. And she just said, no, you probably batteries. I'm like, no. We got the whole fire department out here. And they definitely say there's a leak going around. So, Yup. Ooh. Anyways, your boy is trying to, can't show y'all where I live. You know, I don't want no weird stuff happening to me. But what I am going to do is find out if I have cigarettes in my car. Oh, yes, I do. You know, it's weird. We're running away from carbon monoxide, but your boy is smoking cigarettes, which will slowly kill him instead of quickly killing him like CO2 poisoning would. How ironic. I can't tell if I do or not, to be honest. I'm usually a little bit. The good people. If you guys have, can you see with the reader in our master bedroom to see if it's if the CO2 level is pretty bad in there?
Do you have a reader in the master bedroom?
Oh no, I just thought you guys have a machine that tells you.
That.
I wanted them to check our master bedroom.
Let me find out.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. You know, I deal with fire departments. I mean, police officers a lot because of the business that I own, right? And plus my past background, I've dealt with police a lot for the wrong reasons. But when you become a business owner, especially for a hotel, either hotel motel like mine, you get to frequently deal with police officers. So I can't say that I appreciate them a lot. They still scare the crap out of me because of my past. And I'm pretty sure at least one or two of them hates my guts. I can't see the reason why. Maybe it's because we called them out so many times. We haven't. Dude, it used to be at least once a week we had to call the police out to our hotel. Once a week, at least 2 times, twice. So I used to have like a joke with the employees and say, hey, we should have like a whiteboard check-off list of when we don't have a day without calling the police or a week without calling the police. Like, that's how crazy it was. But it's because it's, you know, it's like we bring in people, right? And I don't control people. Now, we can control who we bring in, right? But when you need money, it's wintertime, and all we have is the locals of this town. Yes, it's usually problems. I'm going to be honest, 80% of the time, the locals are the problems because they're local, right? So why would they need a hotel other than to do bad things? Now, the 20% is where my heart goes out to, and I wish we could have all the good 20%ers where maybe their house burnt down or family situation. You know, so there's stuff like that. I'm glad they're helping us. Fire department's super nice. That's why I brought this up. Compared to the police department, fire department's way more caring and nice. I'm just being real. But police officers are very nice and sweet too, man. They've been good to me in this town. Even when the chief of police of my city wanted to shut me down, he still had enough heart in him to help me out. So I'm gonna say blessings to him. Now, there was a bald-headed police officer that really hates my guts. I have no idea. I think it's just the fact that, I mean, maybe because I'm Asian and I look young. And I called him so many times, that could be the reason. It's a lot of reasons. I guess this is more of a serious situation than I thought, because a lot of things are happening right now. They asked if we feel fine. My wife felt fine, but I know I just feel a little weird since yesterday. But also, your boy Choco Pie is on medication too. That also messes with him every other day. So I can't tell. I thought it was my wife's car for a second. Dang it. It's unfortunate because they said it's coming from the air vents. So that means that there's air vents all in the house, right? So I can't just stay in my room and be all right. Well, we'll see. I am feeling a little dizzy now. But that's probably because I'm smoking a cigarette right now. I hope none of you guys smoke cigarettes. Oh, it's a pretty good time to do morning reading. Ooh, the Bible in the nice sunshine. I don't like. You know what? I don't know why, but I don't like putting stuff on the Bible. I don't even like my cat sometimes sits on it. I shoot him off. You know, the Bible is just the words are what's important, right? But I just have this little thing where I don't want them on it. I know what today's date is. That's gonna make 2 clips. Today's the 23rd. I feel very dizzy right now, but I think that's because it's my first cigarette of the day.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing, boss?
Can I put this on your finger? We're just gonna check
Yeah.
your SpO2 level. You can just relax
All
that
right,
hand.
cool.
Well, let's give us a reading. They might bring a monitor to check. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So, getting good oxygen, which is good because CO,
right on.
it kind of
Yeah.
it attaches to the hemoglobin in your blood, not allowing oxygen to bind to it.
Oh, okay.
So, typically, if you have like a lot of CO intake, then your SpO2 might be a little lower.
Oh,
So
but I'm fine though.
Yeah, yours is at 98% right now.
Oh, right on.
You haven't been dizzy or
No, other than
like
my
that?
first cigarette of the day. But other than that, I'm good. I appreciate it. Thank you. See, I said, very good people, man. I don't know what it is. Fire department's so nice, man. They're good people. And plus, I saw the firefighters in California, dude. They're gangsters, man. Like, dude, the suits that they wear, it's so heavy. And it's hot. It's fireproof, but it's also very hot. And imagine they put this fireproof suit on that probably makes them feel like they're already in 80 to 90 degree weather. And then plus they're fighting fires, which makes it even hotter. So they're not going to get burned too much because of what they got on, but they're still feeling heat, right? So they're gangsters, man. Honestly, so much respect to them, man. I saw one video of this two, I think, badass firefighters just pushing down one fire from a house, and he was just like, the fire was crazy, but he was just streaming that water, and another firefighter had to hold the other hose behind him, right? And they just, man, He saved that whole house, I think. Now I know a lot of people lost their houses on that, and I feel for them, man. It's so, I don't know. It just feels bad. You hear about these things like tsunamis, fires, destroying people's livelihoods and everything, and you feel bad for them. But then if you let it all consume you and worry about it, then like you can't function, right? You can't stress about every single person. So what do we humans do? We just kind of push it aside and say, okay, oh, well, that didn't happen to us. But it's not for us to worry like that. But we should still at least pray for people. Today's the 23rd. I do this thing where I read, and I call Morning Thoughts from a Nobody. And I read Proverbs, because Proverbs is the book of wisdom in the Bible. I think all the stuff in the Bible has wisdom in there. But for non-Christians, and Christians alike, this is a book full of just good stuff. Like sometimes some of the stuff is like so obvious. It's like, oh, of course. But some stuff is hidden jewels, man. You know, you could give a person $1 million to a dumb person, and they could lose it all in a year. And then you could give maybe $1,000 to a wise, very smart person, and they could turn that around and become a millionaire in maybe a couple years or more. You know, being wise is good. It says, when you sit down to eat with a ruler, consider carefully what is before you, and put a knife to your throat. Wait, let me read that again. When you sit down to eat with a ruler, consider carefully what is before you, and put a knife to your throat. If you are a man given to appetite, do not desire his delicacies, for they are deceptive food. Oh, okay. This is basically saying, like, if you sit down maybe with the president or something, or someone very important, you know, like put a knife to your throat in the sense of don't be tempted, because like, you know, for me as well as a businessman, many times like people flash you with stuff, right? Like try to give you free samples of things, you know, or even for non-business owners. Like some, you know, I know people do this for a business, right? They come into your house and they try to give you a carpet wash and say, hey, this is a free sample, and they try to show you off, like, right? Because they want you to buy this expensive vacuum that costs thousands. And they're trying to sell you something, right? This is kind of the same kind of thing, you know, a little small, little parable or story that relates to what this is talking about. It's saying be careful. And then it says, verse 4 says, do not overwork to be rich. Wow, that should go to, not to me, of course, but it should go to my friend. Because of your own understanding, cease. Wow, that's a good one. Will you set your eyes on that? Now, you know what's funny? A lot of the Proverbs, they tell you, do not be lazy, work. Work, work, work. But then over here on verse 4, it says, do not overwork to be rich. Because of your own understanding, cease. But in the other parts, it's saying don't be lazy. Now, it's not contradicting itself. It's just saying, sometimes people, like, my dad always told me, dude, he for 10 years, he worked 7 days a week. And he said he worked 7 days a week for 10 years straight. I can't do that. I don't know how the hell my dad did that. It's just a different generation. But that's the kind of stuff. You're losing your mental mind now. Somehow or another, he kept his mental mind in check. Maybe it's because he had me, you know, his son, and a daughter to look after. Sometimes when you have a will to do something, you will sacrifice everything, your health, your mental being, for your loved ones, you know. That's why, out of all the things my dad did to me when I was young, I loved him, man. I could see why he did, right? Will you say your eyes on that one?
When we left, did you turn the water heater up or down?
That you don't get him out. Wait, what?
The water heater?
What's the water
When
heater
we
like?
left,
I've never touching no water heater.
Alright.
What are you talking
But
about?
did you lower the heat when we left?
Yes.
But was it on? What was it on? Auto or heat?
No, I put it on auto. Oh, toda ya dia. Talk about her. God, sometimes my wife just asks the most. Patience. Patience. You know what it is when I have irritation with my wife? Or very close. I'm talking about close friends. Not just friends. Close friends. And my wife. And my family. It's because, and this is something I have to work on, I have a higher expectations for them than everybody else. For just random friends, or just once in a while friends, like I will respect manners, and of course with family you should respect manners too, right? And I do, but with close people, it's hard not to, like your wife or your husband or your best friend. It's hard not to have expectations to them. So that's why I think a lot of frustration comes out of me. But normally that happens to most people, but normally they don't get as annoyed as I do. And that comes from when I was growing up, my dad had the same thing to me. Like when he used to teach me math, like my mom had to take over, or they had to send me to a private tutor, like another Korean man, which also was a very angry man. Like when I would get problems wrong, he'd start, I don't know if he cussed at me, but he would, his tone, and he would yell at me and stuff like that. Now that would be unheard of in America these days, a tutor doing that. But Asian tutors, yes, they do that. It's just a symptom of our people, our culture, that we need to stop, man. But yeah, my dad, when he used to teach me and I didn't understand like multiplication, like when at that age, he gets so pissed off. He's like, how do you not effing understand this simple, and then he get angry with no patience. I can see why, because I'm his son. And he had high expectations. He wants me to be smart because I'm his blood, right? And he wants me to be successful in life. And if I'm stupid, then he worries about me. So I could see where his anger and impatience came from. I just couldn't understand it at that age. At that age, I was just pissed. But at the same time, it was wrong of him. It is wrong with me too. So I'm working on it, homie. All right. Now it says, will you set your eyes on that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away like an eagle toward heaven. I don't know what that really means. Number 6 says, do not eat the bread of a miser, nor desire his delicacy. I don't know what a miser is either. Maybe it's a trickster. For as he thinks in his heart, so is he. Give me Teddy. So give me the little one. My wife had the doggies. Good thing we took care of it, huh? Nobody died. My family is alive, and that's what's important. If I lost this one, oh my God, he wants to go back to his mama. He doesn't know how much his daddy loves him. And he wants to go back to his mama right away. Come on, Daddy. Daddy loves you. Stay with me for a while. For as he thinks in his heart, so is he. This is verse 7. It says, for as he thinks in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, he says to you. God, he really wants to go back to his mama. Look at him. But his heart is not with you. The morsel you have eaten, you will vomit up and waste your pleasant words. Ooh. Do not speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of your words. See, this is where it always comes back to in Proverbs. You're going to hear this. If you ever read this, Proverbs, it's only like 31 chapters. It's very short, each chapter, but you're going to hear this a lot. Talking about fools and wise people. It says, do not speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of your words. And man, how do I describe that? Okay, I'll use me as a reference because I don't like using other people sometimes. A lot of times when I was young, we all do this, right? Our parents tell us, don't do that. Like, my mom said, don't hang out with those guys. Like, they're bad for you. And I'm like, man, shut up, Mom. You don't know me. Like, they understand me. They're my friends. And then she was right. They betrayed me. They got me into all sorts of drugs and stuff. And it's my choice. And that's just one example. What are things that your parents told you many times when you're younger that you realize as you get older that they're 100% right? It's just at that time and point, you just didn't want to listen because you were a fool. Let's be honest, you were a fool. And when you're young, full of testosterone or estrogen, whichever gender you are, and you're a lot of times you're a fool. You don't go by logic. You go by how you feel inside. And then the feelings are very strong when you're a teenager. They teach you this is just science. And it's crazy the amount of emotions and how insecure and these things pop up inside you. Dude, when I had a pimple on my face when I'm in high school, dude, I would always be like, dang, how am I going to go to school? Like, how am I going to cover this up? And then, you know what's funny? What I used to do, because I was a class clown a little bit, right? So when I go to school, I would ride my bike, but I was a fat guy. Up until my 20s, I was fat. And I ride my bike to school, and dude, my school is literally from my house, less than 10 minutes, all right? And I even rode my bike. And when I ride my bike to school, I'd say about 15 minutes. But, well, it's Texas, right? So it's hot. So once I get to school, every time I'm sweating, like pouring sweat. This is why I like Washington. At least I don't sweat as much as I did in Texas. But I would be so embarrassed and be thinking, oh man, dude, everyone's gonna think I'm a fat slob because I'm sweating and I'm like a pig in the heat or something. So what I would do to convert that insecurity is I would go into the restroom of the school. I'd come in really late just to like let people know, hey, I don't care about what y'all think, and I'm a class clown. And I would put water all over. I'd drench my whole head with water, and I'd walk into the class drenching water like I just took a shower, and people would laugh, and I'd be like, yeah, that's me, cringy. I know I made a lot of people laugh in high school, but when I think about the ways I did it and what the things I said, I'm like, man, you a cringy little mofo. Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyways, I went really off topic for a second there. So now, verse 9 says, do not speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of you. Yes, right. So I was a fool back then. And a lot of times now, I'm still a fool. I'm learning to be wise. My favorite thing to quote always is this that I put on my YouTube, sometimes on my descriptions. A fool learns by his own mistakes, but a wise man learns by the fool's mistakes. And that is a very true statement. But a lot of times, as humans, we have to learn. I've heard this from so many people, like, oh, I only learn when it happens. It's like, it sucks that we're like that, because it's not true. You can learn without going through it. But a lot of people, because they say and think like that, like I used to think, they feel like they have to go through it. I don't have to go to prison to know that it's scary. I already know. So I don't want to go. So I'm going to do things to not go to prison. All right, let's keep on going. And I know I'm a little cursing and stuff like that. And for any of Christian brothers and sisters out there, my brothers in Christ and sisters in Christ, doesn't matter. I've been trying to follow God since I was 18, man. It happens. It's a growth, man. This is a marathon, it says in the Bible. It'll never end. You're learning of God, and there's a lot of things you're going to do and make mistakes. But you're not ever going backwards. Just picking yourself up if you fall down from where you are. They said the CO2 leak is coming from the furnace. Do not remove the ancient landmarks, nor enter the fields of the fatherless, for their Redeemer is mighty, and he will plead their cause to you. Apply your heart to instructions. I'm glad usually I would handle this, right? But there's a reason I'm out here and I'm letting my wife handle the fire department. In the last 3 years, because of the amount of stress and suffering we've been through, she has mentally grown more than she has in a decade of being with me. A decade. And that's because for a decade she's been quiet and just following me. Maybe it's because I'm 5 years older than her, but she had no mind of her own, or she never spoke. But something happened. Suffering makes people grow sometimes, and she has grown. Teddy, you can't. Mama's taking to the fire department lady. Anyway, my wife has grown, and so this is not manipulation and control. What I'm doing here, this is just me letting my wife flourish. Even talking to these fire department, like these are stuff that are new to her, right? Like you should be like, every woman's like, most women be counting on their husband. Oh, can you do this? Can you do this? But the thing is, like, the more and more you do it, then your wife, like my mom used to say that when she first came to America, well, it kind of helped her marriage. She almost felt like she couldn't leave my dad because she didn't know what to do. She didn't speak the language. She was too scared, but my dad knew everything. But I think for me and my wife's marriage, I want her to grow mentally and be good. So, hey, how you doing, boss?
Hey, so we figured out where it's at.
So I think the rental, our house rental company is here too. So, all right. Let me just read this and finish it off. Do not remove the ancient landmark, nor enter the fields of the fatherless, for their Redeemer is mighty, and he will plead their cause against you. Apply your heart to instruction, and your ears to words of knowledge. Do not withhold correction from a child, for if you beat him with a rod, he will not die. You shall beat him with a rod and deliver his soul from hell. I remember when I first started doing these streaming things in November, I read that part, and I spilled my thoughts on that. Because a lot of people hear that and it's like, oh, don't hit your child. 100% hit your child. Spank them. Don't beat them. Well, it says to beat them, but with a rod. You need to spank your children. And people will disagree with me on this. But if they do something wrong, they need to be disciplined. But it should never be in anger like it was for my father. It should be out of love. They should know what the reason is. This is why there's so many disrespectful youngsters these days, especially my best friend. His he reminds me a lot like me, but see, my father, when he beat me, he just beat me in anger. He never explained nothing, so I just ended up resenting and hating the man. Now my best friend, he actually disciplines his brother-in-law because their age gap is so big, and because his brother-in-law, his father, he's still a middle schooler. Just got into high school, I think. Does not discipline him at all. He just shuts down. That's what he tells me. So my friend has spanked his brother-in-law. Sounds weird, right? But it's because of their age gap. It's so huge. But he says when he did it, he told him why he was doing it, and he told him he loved him afterwards, and he took care of him. He didn't beat him senseless. But imagine, I still remember the day when I first got caught stealing. My dad did not beat me that day. And every other time he beat me for getting bad grades, and I'm talking about golf clubs, all sorts of things. And with his fist, his foot, he would beat me. And then when the first time I got caught stealing and got in big trouble, he ended up not hitting me that day. And that really messed up my mind. I was just thinking to myself in the young mind, I was like, out of all the things that doesn't really seem to matter, Dad, like grades and stuff, like, because for all my American friends, they're getting B's and C's, and their parents applaud them when they get B's, but you beat me for that, but you don't beat me when I actually steal. It really altered my brain in the wrong way. And I believe he should have beat me harder than he ever had that day, but he chose not to. I was actually scared to death that day. I thought he was going to beat the crap out of me. He did not. And then sooner after that, the beating stopped once I got older. But like I said, people might disagree with me on that part. You know, it's okay to disagree with each other. I always say this. If there's a lot of things I say that might not be true, that I believe is true, but it might not be true for you. And that's for you to decide. And now verse 15 says, and see, on verse 14, this after the beating, it says, you shall beat him with a rod and deliver his soul from hell. So you're helping him so he doesn't go down the wrong path. But if you beat your kids in the wrong way, out of anger, frustration, and without letting them know what's the reasoning and that you love them, then yeah, they're still going to go down the wrong path like I did and end up in jail and prison and all sorts of stuff because of the abuse. There's a difference between getting hit for a good reason and showing love afterwards, and then just getting beat, and a child not knowing why he's getting beat and holding bitterness and a grudge. against his parents. You know. Anyways, verse 15 says, "My son, if your heart is wise, my heart will rejoice, and indeed I myself, yes, in my inmost being will rejoice when your lips speaks right things. Do not let your heart envy sinners, but be zealous for the fear of the Lord all day, for surely there is hereafter, and your hope will not be cut off. But be zealous for the fear of the Lord all the day." And another proverb said, "The fear of the Lord is to hate evil." That is what the fear of the Lord is. That's one part of what the fear of the Lord is. I've been trying to figure out what the heck the fear of the Lord is for years now, because it seems like that's the key, the mystery piece puzzle that Choco Pie needs to learn to be free of all his addictions and everything. Anyways, we're going to stop today here. I just thought this would be a fun thing. I didn't know what was going to happen, but like I said, I like to show you guys how to handle things, right? So here's another life situation, CO2. Call your local fire department, non-emergency line. And if you're running your home, you need to call your landlords. Deuces.